Hello students, this is Dr. Shabana Begum, Associate Professor in the Department of Zoology, Maharani Science College for Women, Bangalore, presenting a lecture on the 6th session, that is Histological Structure of Mammalian Thyroid Gland, pertaining to BSc Zoology 4th semester under the paper entitled Comparative Anatomy, Human Anatomy, Cell Biology and Histology. In the previous session, I had spoken about the histological structure of liver. I am sure you have followed the same. And today, let us learn about the histological structure of yet another mammalian organ, which is an endocrine gland called thyroid gland. The content of this session would be the outline structure of thyroid, histology of thyroid follicles, then the hormonal output of the thyroid gland. And the learning objectives being, at the end of completion of this lesson, the students will be able to understand the histological details of different parts of thyroid gland and its functional aspects. So thyroid gland as such is a butterfly shaped gland located in the anterior neck on the trachea, just inferior to the larynx. It is two lobes, and the two lobes are connected by a median tissue mass called the isthmus. The thyroid gland is the largest pure endocrine gland in the body. Fine. In the slide you can see the diagrammatic representation of the thyroid gland, which is shown as brown masses. Fine. These are the two lobes of the thyroid gland. There is a horizontal mass of tissue which is called as isthmus, which connects the two lobes, that is the right lobe and the left lobe of the gland. And it is found in the neck below the thyroid cartilage. Fine. And it is situated on the anterior side of the neck, lying against and around the larynx and trachea, reaching posteriorly the esophagus and carotid sheath. Some general information about this gland: it produces thyroid hormones, the principal ones being the T3, that is triiodothyronin, and T4, tetraiodothyronin. These are also called the thyroxine hormones. The T3 and T4 are synthesized from iodine and tyrosine and amino acid. These hormones regulate the growth and rate of function of many other systems in the body. So another hormone which thyroid produces is called calcitonin, which plays a role in calcium homeostasis. With this introduction, let us move to the explanation of the histological details of the gland. So the gland as such is covered over by a capsule of connective tissue, that's called as the capsule itself, and that enters into the gland as trabeculae or septum and divides it into several lobules, bringing along with it arterioles and nerves. So you can say internally the gland is composed of hollow spherical follicles. The walls of each follicle are formed largely by cuboidal or squamous epithelial cells called the follicle cells, which produce the glycoprotein called thyroglobulin. We'll learn about it much more in future slides. So the gland consists of many indistinct lobules containing follicles and many blood vessels enmeshed in fine connective tissue. The first diagram here depicts the histological details of the thyroid gland, where there are rounded masses with a colloid, which is secretion from the follicle cells itself, which is amber colored sticky material consisting of thyroglobulin molecules with attached iodine atoms. Fine. So the follicles are, I said, a large, a small and round and closed glands without ducts. They lie in stroma of reticular connective tissue, richly vascularized and supplied with nerves. They mention that there are about 3 million follicles present in the gland. So an enlarged diagram of the follicle is shown in the picture below, that is having a large lumen lined by means of cells which show the presence of darkly stained prominent nucleus in them. And also the cells called parafollicular cells can be seen, which do not protrude into the lumen but share the common basement membrane like that of the follicle cell. So the size and the structure of the gland, they vary depending upon the factors such as the sex of a person, then age, season, temperature, iodine content and nutritional status of the food. As we all know, iodine is most important factor as it is required for the production of hormone called thyroxine. This is yet another picture of the thyroid gland showing a number of thyroid follicles within it. These are the functional units of the thyroid. The follicles has a large lumen filled with homogeneous mass called colloid, which I just mentioned, which is a glycoprotein, and this combines with iodine to form thyroglobulin. So the lumen is lined by means of cuboidal epithelial cells that rest on a delicate basement membrane, and the type of cells which line the lumen are of two types. Fine. The principal cells are chief cells, and secondly the parafollicular cells are C cells. So the chief cells or principal cells comprise of 99% of the cells. They produce thyroxine. The cells are low cuboidal, resting on the basement membrane with a large prominent nucleus. The cells have secretory granules and colloid droplets in the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm stains darkly and is basophilic due to ribonucleoproteins. The free end facing the lumen shows microvilli. So the hormone thyroxine secreted by these cells is released into the surrounding blood capillaries which surrounds the follicles. Fine. So the second type of cells which are present in the follicle is the parafollicular cells. They are also called as C cells. Fine. These are another population of endocrine cells. Fine. These are also found in the thyroid gland. I said they produce calcitonin, which is a polypeptide hormone. They are few in number and they are large with pale staining cytoplasm. They are usually present in the outer wall of the follicles and do not protrude into the lumen. Fine. They do not protrude into the lumen but protrude into the soft connective tissue that separates and surrounds the thyroid follicle. So they are separated from the lumen by the chief cells. The cells have clear cytoplasm with a large nucleus and they secrete a hormone, I just said, called calcitonin. It's also called as thyrocalcitonin that lowers the blood calcium level, and it controls hypercalcemia. Another information one should know about this gland is the shape, size of the follicle, then the type of cells which line the follicles, and the nature of colloid changes according to the activity of the gland. Suppose when the gland is less active, how it appears. So, there is hyposecretion of the hormone thyroxine or deficiency of thyroxine seen. The follicles are small, round with regular outline. The cells are locuboidal and the lumen has colloid that stains dark as it is not used up to produce thyroxine. On the contrary, when the gland is more active, there is hypersecretion of thyroxine. The follicles appear large, folded and irregular in shape in an active gland, and due to hyperactivity, the cells become columnar and the cytoplasm is light staining, a pale staining, and the colloid in the lumen is also light or pale staining as they are constantly being used up to form thyroxine hormone. Finally, the hormonal output from the thyroid is regulated by TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone synthesized by the anterior lobe of pituitary gland, which itself is regulated by thyrotropin releasing hormone TRH, which is produced by the hypothalamus. Fine, this is the information I wanted to pass it on to you regarding the histological detail of the thyroid gland. Thank you.